about marriages. Because the question, they want to know the types of marriages that we have here in South Africa, according to our family law here in South Africa. Ina 3 yato, mhlobo ya mtshato. Vanhu va rhandzaka ngopfu leya in community of property, which is called a civil marriage. And then a civil marriage, it simply says it's a relationship between a male and a female with the exclusion of any third party. And that civil marriage, which is in community of property, in the consequences because remember, amchado, it's a contract. So look, ungena kamchado lovari in community of property. Normally, and then that what happens at the end. Because mchadolo loko semambana or whatever you have, equally. And remember, in this marriage, children, they are not part of the estate. Because ukumawan vaktala loku along the way loko so this is when they want to divorce ukumawan sati me are okay me yindlu leyi lava iva yavana va me. But the unfortunate part is that vana avangeni ndawo. Ukuma swaku sometimes a house must be sold at the end because the other party naye slava akuma 50% share yayo. Because of that type of marriage, it's an in community of property. That marriage, normally you can go and apply for it or Home Affairs. You go in Home Affairs, you book there, they will give you a date, you go in a specific date, register. Then you are married. So that is the consequences, CIO, that marriage. So I will explain all these marriages and then I will explain at the end another problems that we of all these types of marriage. So already we explained in community of property. Because local, and then there's another one which is in out of community of property. But local we are Home Affairs or local child kerekeni vakusainela that certificate. If we ungana that anti-nuptial contract, because if we are married out of community of property, slava over that thing very anti-nuptial contract. Because you at the end, or in case something happens between the two of you, what will happen? So that thing, that marriage automatically it's in community of property. Because all this marriage we register it's a civil, marriage civil. It's married. Then unless una that anti-nuptial contract, it's and go married out of community of property with anti-nuptial contract. So that anti-nuptial contract, is in case and then whatever whatever that we have gathered together, whatever that we have accrued together during the course of the marriage, those things must be divided equally. What will happen about the debt? Because remember, I know this is life marriage, so there will be debts, there will be other things. What will happen about our debts? I find in community of property, because in community of property, whatever you have, even estate it become part ya estate. It means whatever longer so. Even the debt, you share everything, consequences. But this one out of community of property, whatever maybe on your anti-nuptial contract, this is where you state whatever or the time you manage each other and that house, I don't want it to be part so that we know the house, it does not form the part of the estate. It can be the house, it can be maybe you have livestock or maybe unamova or whatever other thing that you have. Then on that anti-nuptial contract, this is where you state everything, even Lokutera, when you are working, remember there's also pension fund and that is involved because the Matrimonial Act states explicitly that when we are married, especially in community of property, the other spouse is also entitled to 50% interest of your pension fund. So those are the consequences that happens at the end when people they are divorcing. But when you are out of community of property and you have stated all these things clearly, then you are safe to all these things because okay, look, my 50, no one get my 50%, we gonna only share whatever maybe accumulated together from the date or from the date of your marriage. Then we also have another out of community of property. There's out of community of property with accrual system, which is the antenuptial contract, and there's other one without the accrual system. The accrual system simply says whatever that we accrued, whatever lay then loko say divorce, then ita equal. But the consequences here, this other one, they are almost far the same. Whatever that we've gathered together, before each other, it remains mine. It means if there's a debt before each other, that debt will be yours, unless that debt you accumulated it the time same chatting. Those are the marriage that we have. And then we also have this marriage. I know here is a church. Sometimes people they don't like this one, which is called civil union. Civil union okay, ipfumela swa ku munhu a chada ni nuna mun'wana. Ipfumela swa ku munhu a chada ni wansati mun'wana. That is another type of marriage that now in South Africa we have. The process is the same. You go and register in Home Affairs. I think sometimes if when you are registered as a pastor to solemnize marriages, they also remember they conduct training and they will tell you about all the types of marriages that you must solemnize. So this is one part of the marriage, but it's normally in community of property. It means whatever you have, even the time before you join together, then whatever you have at the end of the marriage must be shared equally. Whether it's a car, whether it's anything, that person is also entitled to your 50% share. Then the last marriage is also customary marriage. We know, in fact, this one is the one that worries me most because most of the time people in our community, they still conclude these marriages, like the customary marriages, whereby you lovola. Because once you pay lovola, remember that is actually marriage according to our custom and our belief, as African people. So okuma mono lovolo, and then loka akela lovolo, this marriage is recognized. But munwe after that, they don't go and register the marriage. Because that time when they are happy and all those things. And then they don't even know if you are married customary, you can still go to court and dissolve that marriage. It means unga divorce customary. The consequences of customary law, there are so many because in most cases the problem is that, remember, customary law, if you many wives as he can. And even 50, depending on how many wives does he want. So customary marriage, maybe they were married customary, they never even registered the marriage. Maybe in case when times goes on, maybe baba alova. So when the husband dies, remember the wife is the one who has all the parental rights and all those things. Because once you are married to a person, automatically you have all the parental rights and all the other things that need to be done actually by you. So in most cases, ateka maybe nuna because these people are no way maybe you never took care of him and all those things. Now there's a dispute. That is the biggest problem because now munwe anga. And then loko se atutsuma ako uya court ba lava certificate kumshado ya anga register. So it becomes a very big problem because the first thing first, kulava court isungula another case ba prove this person ayochada na lawful in this person. So kulava kurumeliwa vanhu can get conducted interview abantu well indeed in a way was married to this person customary. They lived together as husband and wife. The lobola was lobola paid, where is the lobola letter and all those things? Was the ceremony celebrated? Was Makoti handed over to the other family as a wife and all those things? At the end, because you don't even have money, because we African, we know that we are so disadvantaged. It's very hard to us even to take cases to court because it's money. So mali to challenge or to interdict those people not to bury that person. And another problem is that at Home Affairs, the death certificate simply says this person was never married because we never registered the marriage. But however, even though the marriage is not registered, it doesn't mean that you were not married. But now you must get a court order. But to get a court order, time flies. You wanted to bury the person maybe on that week, and because already and you don't even have money to challenge this or to interdict this person. You end up of which it's a very painful thing. They have to undergo this thing because customary. So normally we advise people who customary. You must at least go and register that marriage because we register because if the other parties are LOVELD, it's very difficult. Because in remember, we are still going to talk about estate. Maybe in an estate or whatever that want those things. So other try by all means to bring certain maybe that was existing before when I don't know United was married to this person, not this one. Yes, yeah, but they will challenge you. But because maybe when I don't have money, when they have money, they will end up winning the case. And then when you remain nothing because you are unable to challenge such things. So the best way is to register the marriage. Nakombela, this is it's a serious request that in church, every time when women they gather, they must talk about these things. You must go and register your customary marriage. Once go and register that marriage because actually when you are married, so go and register the marriage so that you avoid the relation. And when you want to divorce at the end, it doesn't matter money divorce or what. The act stated clearly if the relationship is irretrievable, broken down, we have lost love, maybe abuser and all those things, and we want to stay in the relationship, it won't help anymore. We have exhausted all the remedies to try to resolve the marriage, but you can't. So you can come to our offices in legal aid here. There is an office here in Bushbuckridge. You come here, we will assist you and we will advise you on other things that you need in order for you to assist you further with the divorce. So please, man, people must be warned about this customary marriage. Once you get married customary, please. It means you can in fact, the act is it simply stated you don't even have to register. You can take that letter alone and go and register your marriage of your certificate shower so that we avoid the good in future because we don't know what the future holds for us. The consequences maybe where look baba sa LOVELD va tekela swilo or baba loko se LOVELD kuma swa ku maybe a ri munhu ti business va titekisi or whatever o kuma swa ku we a wu koti kuma nchumu va buta ye va fika or mama na ya fika a ri landze swilo swa n'wana me. We have many cases here u kuma swa ku vanhu va fika va ri va ta teka ti-taxi va teka yini because va ri no we a wu nga register buti and vele because there's no proof. Now you have to take them to court first and Aunamali and Autivin Chum because you don't have the legal mind. So sometimes because our offices are far from people, we advise people to look in a problem or to any contract. Our family court, I have this and then court normally they will refer them to our offices for assistance. So yeah, I think those are the very important issues that I touch under the types of marriages. So now we're gonna move because I'm so happy because those topics ta fambelana hinkwato until to the will. Se sweswi hi ta vulavula hi mhaka of administration of estate. Administration of estate yo yi nghena loko munhu se a lovile. Administration of estate i ri yini? The law is simple and clearly about it. Iku yo loko munhu a lova, remember loko munhu a lova maybe a nga chatanga mara u na vana, swilo swa yena they must go to vana va yena. Then loko a nga na vana, then they must go to mamani wa yena, or loko a nga na mamani then to sisters, loko a nga na sisters, uncle and all other. It goes down like that. So in most cases u kuma swa ku munhu I lovile, loko a lovile munhu loyi maybe a na movha leyi obviously ka mavito ya yena. So loko a lovile, the car is under his name, no one a nga ta swi kota ku ri a tirhisa movha liya or a endla anything except ku ri u kuma the letter of authority that n'wi nyika the right ku ri a change ownership iva under mavito ya munhu loyi a hanyaka, maybe nsati wa yena kumbe buti wa yena in that case, or mamani. So to get the letter of authority swi lava u ya court. Loko u ya court, the first thing va ta vutisa ka yona u related njhani na munhu loyi. U kuma swa ku maybe make a simple example ku ri you are married to this person Customary, you never registered the marriage. Lo fika la ya Home Affairs una pampiri leya ya malovola yi tsaliwile ku ri va tisile tihomu 20 ya toho va hakere hinkwaswo swi herile, they are married and all those things. Loko fika la ya Home Affairs they don't recognize that letter because it's not a legally document. Why? Because they know ku ri vanhu va tele, ku nga ta munhu un'wanyana na yena a na xiphepha xa ku fana lexa u ti tsalela kumbe I tsalele hi munhu un'wanyana wa relative ya munhu loyi because va lava ku benefita from swilo swa munhu loyi a nga lova, yabo. So normally in Home Affairs a va pfumeli to ku ri where you were married to that person, a va yi teki that letter ka office leya ya estate, a va yi pfumeli. What will happen is that maybe ku na vana laya, then swilo va nga ta xi endla ku ri va ta pfula estate leya hi mavito ya wena mara you are administering it on behalf ya vana lavaya. It's like wehe u endla case leyi u endlela vana va wena, a wu ti endleli wena as supposed to be because wehe u chadile. Because loko chadile a yi hluphi estate yako, it's even fast even to finalize. Because if the estate, a person dies, was not married, and there are minor child involved, that estate becomes a problem. Because if kuna timali laya, remember you can't even access timali tamundu because in the bank bata freeze everything once you report the person guru ilovi. So loko kuma that letter of authority, what they will do is they will refer you ka office ya hina. Loko fika la ka hina ita pfula file. I nge full file as if now you are married, but ita pfula file as if you are just mamana wa vana la. Then when ota enda file leyi u endlela vana va wena, then hina what we do is that we're gonna assist you with the estate, do everything until we finalize the case. But loko kuna mali or kuna movha, what we do is that mali leya wena you don't get any share kahle kahle, but the share goes to ka vana lavaya. What happens is that the money will be taken to trust fund, ya guardians fund. Kuna xikhwama lexa va ri trust fund for guardians fund for vana. Loko maybe baba or mamani or whatever a lovile a nga tsalanga wile a nga tsalanga nchumu in that case. Then in that fund what they do normally is that but they will open that fund for Manalia. Then hina itaku nika that money. What I came from us now is 6 months, because we cannot give you that money in full because when you don't have the rights. Because the law says, look, tika inika we mali yawe unga tika uiteka uenda swilo leswi lavaka we famba xava movha u renovate yindlu or other things. But the main purpose of the guardians fund ku ri mali ya ivekeliwa vanhu lava va za va na 18 so that loko va fika ka malembe ya 18 va kota ku teka mali leya va famba maybe n'wana a ya university or n'wana a famba a ya college. So that is the consequences of it if the marriage was not registered. Because if the marriage is registered, remember, if your husband dies, you now have a 50% share of whatever that he has. It means it's your 50% share there, you will get your share, and then they will benefit after you got the 50% share there. So look, if you were not married, you never registered, especially the customary marriage one, it's a problem, because now what normally happens is that if you want to challenge Guru when you're married, you can still get married to that person, even though say LOVELD, you can apply for that at Home Affairs. But now it becomes a very long process. It can even take a year, so that for you, Kuma that certificate, when you're married to someone who already says LOVELD, they must send people there to come and investigate. And all those things. And then the other family sometimes maybe they will go and ask the relative there, hey, they were never married, and then automatically when they are done conducting their investigation and the evidence reveal no one knows about this thing, or there's only one person, the rest of the people they are saying you were not married, and then they will never grant you. And remember, you cannot get even that money or whatever estate or property anganayo munhu where vatainyimisa that estate until, and by that time they are unable to vafuneka in terms of money, because mali yababa ipalelekile, because when we are busy fighting the case. So we advise people who they must just register, because this thing of not registering a marriage in the consequences so that's the problem about it. So that is the only biggest problem under the estates. But otherwise, if you are married, everything becomes so simple for you. You can go to court and get a letter of authority today. Because to get a letter of authority, it doesn't take time, unless maybe that estate it's more than 250,000. Then if the estate is more than 250,000, it won't even delay that much. But within a week, you will get your letter of authority. But if you were not married to that person, then it will take close to 6 months. Just imagine that long period, because sometimes you find maybe the husband was the only person who was working there, and then maybe kunati account there, but I'm going to the access. So imagine you will wait for that long time, and then by that time already, because the law is very strict about this thing. Because what if this person is Malia, and then when I level of 18, they come and sue the state back for our father had money, but why a letter of authority in money or in a relative access at the money because Mulwe was not married. Even later, when even the money, maybe the person was working for government, maybe it's GPEF money, they will want that letter of authority. They will only pay out for those who are more than 18, but whosoever that is not 18, they will want that letter of authority, because they must know exactly who man who will administer the estate. So let us go and then now to the last party of wills. This is another thing, the issue park, but wills, they are not that much problematic if a person is married. The problem is whereby you were not even married to this person and you didn't even write a will. Wills we have two wills. We have two things under wills. When a person died, when we say a person died intestate, we are saying the person died without leaving a will. When a person died testate, a person died and left a will. What is a will then? A will is okay, in case I die, because remember we're not here forever. It is written there in the Bible. Unfortunately, we are believers here. So for men shall live and men shall die, and after that shall be judged accordingly. So lokumunu they must write their wills. If you are married, you can write your joint will. You call it joint will. Utsala will yo leyo nasatwa mi endla iva will yin'we. You are married, you are one. Mingatsala will yangwe iva joint and be one thing. Mitsala okay, in case we die, maybe okay, maybe nothing okay, look, if I die, the maltame you see a man and this that is your will is what you want to happen. Look, also ungariko, and then appoint an amount that will look after your wish accordingly. But look, will it becomes simple because even the office of the master of the high court it becomes easy for them, because you will it's everything. Okay, this must go to this person, this must go to this person, this must go to this person. The only problem is only if maybe that person is a minor child, it's a minor, and maybe it involves money, then maybe I think that's gonna be, but it won't be that issue because we wrote a will. So the master of the high court is bound by the will because a will it's a legal document, and therefore they have to distribute your estate and your monies according to your will. So you can write, even if you are married, you can write your will alone. But remember, if you are married now and you are married in community of property, remember there's a 50% share. It means will there. You are saying the other 50% share must go to your children. Maybe you are saying it must go to your children because remember, once you write a will, you can even give your sister, your grandmother, or whosoever, your auntie or your uncle, whatever that you want it to be shared, But the first thing first that you must bear in mind is that the other 50% must go to your husband if you're married in community of property. And then the other 50%, maybe you want it to be shared amongst your children or whosoever will benefit. Then if you are married out of community of property, then remember out of community of property, what does it say? Whatever you say, then obviously it means whatever that we have, you will have maybe it distributive to those people. Then there's also that out of community of property with accrual system, whatever it means must be shared equally, 50-50 at the end. Then the other 50% share, you are going to distribute in your will to other people. Okay, this and this will go to my husband, this and that will go to my children, or benefit. So that is the consequences of Oshangatali will. It's a problem because now at the end, maybe on a 5-year vana, now the master of the high court must decide maybe on a 5-year vana and then una mova in. Now the master of the high court must decide to move in Kaman. They fight about the car and all those things. So now they must decide which must go to who, or else the car must be sold and then at least money so that we share equally. Because remember, maybe there's a house as well. You didn't write your will, and maybe find maybe one of your children is also married to it's maybe let me make this example. Let's take we have 2 children. The one is married, the other one when you are staying with here at home. And you didn't write a will, but you wanted to give this one who is not married, who doesn't have a place to stay in case when you die. So if you don't state in your will, it's going to be a problem because the other child must also benefit to the estate of his father. So now, because full rights, I must get my share. This was my father's estate or Akuri estate. So will benefit on something so put your things all down. Okay, I want this and that. Come on. And how do you draft a will? Draft a will. One, you must write. We need all the description of your property or items. List the registration and house number. And all those things. There are 20 cows and what. Those things must be in writing. And then ilava mavito ya mundu where ulava a benefit. Mavito ya according to the IT. Maybe we can make a copy then so that the assist when drafting properly. Because remember this thing so, and another thing is you must have a witness. According to the law, you must have 2 witnesses. But normally when you come to the office, I'll be the second witness, but you must come with 1 witness. And that witness must not be the person angata benefit, because remember those people that must benefit, they must not know about this thing unless you are married. It's the person whom you are married with and you want to write a joint with, because remember when you are married, you don't have to have secrets for your wife, so everything must be known. So if maybe you are not married but you wrote your will, you come and wrote your will, no, remember what, you must come with a witness, and then all the name and the particulars of that person, it must be written down in full so that we are able to give a clear description of all those things accordingly, so that in case you die, you got will according to you. I think I have touched everything. I think maybe now you can ask questions. Maybe there's a certain aspect maybe learning guy tachanga, but I don't think so. Then you can ask me questions, and then I can assist you. I think I must just leave my office number as well here, so that you guys, there's some they can call me, because I think there are many issues, maybe even more than this, way we could assist. Thank you. Hello?
Yeah, me to Butsiso email program director babuy.
Inkomo, the co-host mini mute. I was trying to unmute asungapfumeli baku, you have to unmute me. Inkomo tatana Sihlangu, dyondzo leyi mi nga hi nyika i ya matimba ene mi vulavurile lero ni vona nga ku mi touch hinkwaswo. Ni kombela swivutiso swimbirhi in the interest of time, swimbirhi ntsena. Then tatana Sihlangu va ta hi nyika ti-contact numbers ta voho, va pfurile mavoko ku ri hi nga va fonela hi va vutisa swivutiso leswi hi nga na swona. Vamanana swivutiso swimbirhi ntsena.
Inkomo, program director, I wanted to find out if there's a situation ukuthi abantu kudala bahlala together and abalobolananga benzanga next, but they stay together, and the property mhlambe omunye ukhiphe i-deposit, although mhlambe angaveli ku-property, but the things bazi-accumulator together. And then what happens with my session, because awunaphepha next, then there was no lobola, there's nothing, but nihleli for more than 30 years. Thank you.
Xivutiso xa vumbirhi xi nga ta va ta hlamula xikan'we tatana Sihlangu.
Kuna voko ram manana Vasti Maluleke.
Manana Maluleke i nkarhi wa n'wina. Manana Maluleke nghenani moyeni i nkarhi wa n'wina.
Okay, Inkomo cancel. Ani kombela ku vutisa ku ri what happens in a state ya ku antirhweni u va u ri na ti-nominees and then u va u ri hava will, what's gonna happen loko situation yi ri tano?
Inkomo tatana Sihlangu se i nkarhi wa n'wina wa ku va mi hlamula na ku songasonga hinkwaswo leswi mi vonaka nga ku mi swi siyile loko karhi mi hi dyondzisa. Kutani loko mi heta hi ta kombela mi hi siyela contact number. Tatana Sihlangu. Tatana Sihlangu hi kombela mi hi hlamula.
Okay, sorry, I'm gonna unmute. Okay, let me answer the first question. As long as there was no lobola that was paid, it's actually that was they call it cohabiting. But the only problem that I have, lava tamakako indule registered under man, because the house must be registered in one maybe of the parties. Because if the house is maybe for in that case, if the house is registered under the name of the husband, it's going to be a problem. What she can only do, she can only claim in favor of the estate the money that she has contributed. Then she must have proof. But she was married. No, she's not married to that person. Even customary, she's not married to that person, because there was no lobola paid. There was nothing that was paid to the other, to his family, to say, okay, there is another question in online, is customary marriage in or out of community of property? A customary law, automatically it's in community of property. Then the second question, what happens, look, then there's money maybe and then will. Automatically, if you are not married, the money will go to your children. And remember, like for instance, under government, there's GPEF, that government pension fund. Normally, there is a nomination form there, and in Ian Kaza, of course, it's data cash. Okay, you list even if it's not but benefit, and then you must give them a percent, 10%, 20, 30, 40. That is how you distribute it. But if there's no such, maybe provident fund there, okay, how many percent? It means now the master, remember, powers over your estate, it's gonna be master, because the master of the High Court, you ain't got to decide. Normally, either distributor layer provident fund or your government pension fund, equally to wow. Because we ulava lo ya kuma 10% because watira lo ulava kuma 30% because yeah and all those things, because sometimes they look at that because maybe we at least independent maybe that money itakoto kumfona, so that I got that to be a better person in future. So I think I have answered all the questions. The number that you guys can call me, because I see you don't have time, it's 013 799 1833. 013 799 1833. Ukombela sifiso on that number, then I'll assist you there. I don't know whether there's another question that I can take.
You can say let Tatana Sihlangu.
Hey.
Hi ta fonela eka nomboro leyi mi hi nyikeke loko hi ri na swivutiso mi ta hi hlamula, ene swivutiso swin'wana swi very personal, lero swi ta lava hi mi fonela hi vhakela ofisi ya n'we hi ta heta ta vutisa swivutiso leswi hi nga na swona. Hi khensile swinene.
Okay, thank you so much.
Hi kombela risimu vamakwerhu, risimu leri ri nga ta tshuneta Reverend Ngomani a ta hi xeweta. Hi kombela risimu leri ri ta va ri tshuneta Rev Ngomani ku va a ta haleni mahlweni a ta hi xeweta. Swilombe swa hina hi nyikeni risimu. Mama Promise, Mama Daphne, Make Mhlaba, hi kombela risimu.
Hi tlangelen rirhandzu leri tlurisa ka mpimo wa vanuni wa tintsumi, rirhandzu ra Hosi Yesu Mitsaba ayilovile, ayitsikile xikwembu. Oh, ayingatsibi vutomi, ayilovile makumu. Nzi hanyisiwe, nzi ponisiwe, sihlantsiwile ingati ya hosi Yesu, Yesu, Yesu aranzile banu. Wona balala bayena, arelela ati endla, nyamani shakarahina. Asiyile ni pohosi, ati hunzule shihlangi. Ohihlubule swahina, uhi ambesha swayena. Nzi hanyisiwe, nzi ponisiwe, zihlantsiwile ingati ya hosi Yesu, Yesu.
Mufambisi wa ntirho wa siku ra namuntlha. Can you hear me?
Ina mfundisi Hamid.
Inkomo I'm sure nkarhi lowu ndi nga ka wona hi lowu a ni fanele ndi hete hi wona, mara ho themba kwa mi endla swa productive. Ni pfumele ni khensa nkarhi lowu mi nga hi nyika wona on behalf of the Presbytery eka conference ya n'wina ya matimu, conference leyi van'wani mi vonaka mi karhi mi nghena ka yona mi karhi mi sweka, van'wani mi karhi mi ayina, mi karhi mi endla hinkwayo migingiriko ya le kaya. Hambi hina hi nghena eka yona mi vonini khale ndi nghenini hi le muxadweni wa mfundhisi wa le Polokwane. Mara all in all hi ku yimela mintlawa hinkwayo ya Presbytery leyi, hi ku yimela tikomiti hinkwato ta Presbytery, hi mi navelela tinjombo, vutomi lebyinene leswi mi nga swi endla ematimu. Keep it up. Hi ri vamanana, hosi a yi ve na n'wina, shine xikwembu xi mi hlayisa. Hi ri conference leyi yi ta va kona eka tibuku ta hina ta matimu. Mi endlile, mi sungulele kahle, ho va na ku tshemba ku na yin'wana mitlawa yi ta landzela. Vhele vamanana ku rhanga n'wina mi sungula, hina hi landza hi le ndzhaku. On behalf of the Presbytery hi ri va na conference leyinene. Khani mambo mfambisi a tlangela, inkomu.
Hi khensile mfundhisi wa hina wa kahle, hi khensile ku xewetiwa, hi khensa na ku ri a mi swi lavi ku hambana na hina hambi mi ri mucatweni. Mi ti phatlula hi le xikarhi, mi avakana hi hina. Impela mi ti nyiketile entirhweni lowu Xikwembu xi mi asayineleke wona wa khensa. Tiphineni hi muxado.
Khani mambo.
Ahe. Vamakwerhu.
Ahe.
A mi fanele. Vamakwerhu. Sweswi a ni fanele ni mi nyika xinkarhana xa ku va hi ti olola. Mara hambi swi ri tano ni vona swi fanerile i khale hi tshamile. A hi ti ololeni hi karhi hi nga sukanga a tifonini ta hina. Va karhi vayimbeleri va hi tekela risimu, va hi tekela tinsimu timbirhi kumbe na ti-chorus. Hi karhi hi ti olola. Lava hi navelaka ku ya hlaya ti-newspaper hi ya hlaya only for 2 minutes. Then hi ta tlhela hi vuya hi ta yisa mahlweni ntirho wa hina. Nkarhi wu hi siyile vamakwerhu. Inkomu. Ti-chorus leaders hi kombela ku nga sali ku titimela. A hi yimbeleleni hi ku nyiketana tinsimu timbirhi, risimu kumbe chorus, kutani hi ta tlhela hi vuya after 5 minutes. Inkomu.
Hilo tikhete la vito ra mavito Inavito ra Yesu ilotikhetha la vito ramavito inavito ra Yesu vito inavito ra Yesu vito inavito ra Yesu ilotikhetha la vito ramavito inavito ra Yesu ilotikhetha la vito ramavito inavito ra Yesu vito inavito ra Yesu vito inavito ra Yesu tina sine kama lama kama sine kama liga Jesu tina sine kama lama kama sine kama liga Jesu tina sine kama liga Jesu tina sine kama liga Jesu ilotikhetha la vito ramavito inavito ra Yesu ilotikhetha la vito ramavito inavito ra Yesu inavito ra Yesu inavito ra Yesu.
Tina sine kama lama kama sine kama liga Jesu tina sine kama lama kama sine kama liga Jesu tina sine kama liga Jesu tina sine kama liga Jesu hina vito mavito hina vito ra Yesu hina vito ramavito hina vito ra Yesu soma lusoy krini pilo yami lusoy krini pilo yami wena ukhusela umoya wami ukhusela umoya wami ngoba ngizohamba ngijonge kuwe ngamaxesha wonke ngoba ngizohamba ngijonge kuwe ngamaxesha wonke somandla uzoyiqina impilo yami uzoyiqina impilo yami uphinde ukhusela umoya ukhusela umoya wami ngoba ngizohamba ngijonge kuwe ngamaxesha wonke ngoba ngizohamba ngijonge kuwe ngamaxesha wonke somandla uzoyiqina impilo yami uzoyiqina impilo yami wena ukhusela umoya wami ukhusela umoya wami ngoba ngizohamba bangi jonge mina kuwe ngama Presha wonke soma luzoiqine impilo yami uzoiqine impilo yami wena ukhusela umoya wami ukhusela umoya wami ngoba ngizohamba ngijonge mina kuwe mnyama Presha wonke suma luzoiqine impilo yami uzoiqine impilo yami uphinde ukhusela umoya wami ukhusela umoya wami ngoba ngizohamba ngijonge kuwe ngamaxesha wonke.
Jesu monashwala Calvary. Kariba kalare vitaruna. Iyo Calvary. Iyo Calvary. Jesu monashwala Calvary. Kariba kalare vitaruna. Iyo Calvary, iyo Calvary, iyo Calvary, iyo Calvary, iyo Calvary, iyo Calvary, Jesu monashwela Calvary. Kariba kalari vitaruna. Iyo Calvary. Iyo Calvary. Jesu monashwela Calvary. Kariba kalari vitaruna. Iyo Calvary. Iyo Calvary. Iyo Calvary. Iyo Calvary. Iyo Calvary. Iyo Calvary. Iyo
Inshini ushilabaka wena kongelu tashikuma. 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 Ibuhosi ubzilabaka wena kongela utazikuma. Ibuhosi ubzilabaka wena kongela utazikuma. Imali uyilabaka wena kongela utayikuma. Imali uyilabaka wena kongela utayikuma. Ikurula ukulabaka wena kongela utazikuma. Ikurula ukulabaka wena kongela utazikuma. Inshini ushilabaka wena kongela utashikuma. Inshini ushilabaka wena kongela utashikuma. Ikufuma ukulabaka wena kongela utakukuma. kufuma ukulava ka wena khongela uta kukuma ndikuloko ulava kutirela hosi famba nceleni wa vusokoti ulava kutirela hosi famba nceleni wa vusokoti loko ulava kutirela hosi famba nceleni wa vusokoti loko ulava kutirela hosi famba nceleni wa vusokoti bzin'wana bya nghena bzin'wana bya huma famba nceleni ya vusokoti loko ulava kutirela hosi famba nceleni ya vusokoti bzin'wana bya nghena bzin'wana bya huma famba nceleni ya vusokoti loko ulava kutirela hosi nceleni ya vusokoti inxini u xi lavaka wena khongela u ta xi kuma inxini u xi lavaka wena khongela u ta xi kuma inxini u xi lavaka wena khongela u ta xi kuma inxini u xi lavaka wena khongela u ta xi kuma i vuhosi u byi lavaka wena khongela u ta byi kuma inxini u xi lavaka wena khongela u ta xi kuma i mali u yi lavaka wena khongela u ta yi kuma inxini u xi lavaka wena khongela u ta xi kuma i kurhula u ku lavaka wena khongela u ta ku kuma i kurhula u ku lavaka wena khongela u ta ku kuma i ku fuma u ku lavaka wena khongela u ta ku kuma inxini u xi lavaka wena khongela u ta xi kuma loko u lava ku tirhela hosi famba nceleni ya vusokoti u lava ku tirhela hosi famba nceleni ya vusokoti ndiku loko u lava ku tirhela hosi famba nceleni ya vusokoti loko u lava ku tirhela hosi famba nceleni ya vusokoti byin'wana bya nghena byin'wana bya huma famba nceleni ya vusokoti loko u lava ku tirhela hosi famba nceleni ya vusokoti
Amen.
amen
Hallelujah.
amen
Hallelujah ba Mikey.
amen
Hi vuyile a ni ri a hi yimiseni mavoko ku komba swa ku hi vuyile. So enkarhini wa sweswi hi ta kombela risimu ra hot luwana wa ku tshuka juu ri yimbeleriwa. Loko ri heta ku yimbeleriwa hi kombela mufundhisi wa hina one of our own Dokodela NP Godi. Dokodela a hi va outsourcanga ka helo i va hina la kerekeni. Loko u lava all the professions tana kerekeni ya EPCSA u ta tikuma. Dokodela va dyondzele leswi va nge va ri obstetrician and gynecologist. Va tirha hi vavasati. Ni tsundzuka advert yin'wanyana va ku vavasati na vona va ni switlhavi swo tala. Dokodela hina vavasati hi vula swona hi ri hina switlhavi swo tala. Leswi swa le moyeni ha swi tiva buku ya Samuel yi karhi ya hi hlamula. Kambe sweswi dokodela i nkarhi wa n'wina wa ku va mi hi hlamula swa le nyameni. I nkarhi wa n'wina dokodela.
Inkomo ndzi rhandza ku khensa mufambisi wa ntirho na ku khensa vurhangeri bya kereke ya PCSA la LOWVELD. Ndzi khensa xirhambo lexi mi nyikeke xona ku va ni ta kota ku share na n'wina eka siku ra namuntlha. Ku share na n'wina hi siku leri ra namuntlha lembeni leri ra manana wa hina wo hlawuleka swinene Charlotte Maxeke. Nakambe ni nga vula leswaku eka mina PCSA ni vona ni ri na nkateko hikuva lembe ra Charlotte Maxeke ka mina ni ri lembe ra vo manana vo fana vo mfundhisi LB Kubai lava va nga va one of the pioneers ka vufundhisi hi va manana la ka kereke ya hina. Topic ya mina namuntlha yi vulavula hi female cancer awareness. Cancer ya vamanana yi affecta ngopfu the cervix and the breast. Ni ta kombela mi pfumelela ku va ni presenta kanyingi hi ririmi ra vubasa hikuva marito yo tala hi Xichangani kumbe hi Xintima a hi koti ku ma vulavula kahle na ku ma hlamusela kahle. So la ku sungula tani ni vula leswaku cancer i yini xana? Cancer is when some tissue cells begin to grow abnormally. They grow abnormally and divide or multiply more rapidly than the normal healthy cells around them. So loko ti cells leti ti sungula ku kula ti nga controleki ku tlula leti ti va khelani leta normal, that growth iba cancer. In that common cancers kabo manani kat females. We're talking here cancer of the cervix. Cervix inomo washibeleko loko ila ku Xichangana. I hope satisfied. And then kuna cancer leyi nga ya mavele. In South Africa, cancer mavele yi voniwa ngopfu hi ti general surgeons mara cancer vo manana still. And then kuna cancer ya xibeleko, hi vula endometrial cancer or uterine cancer leyi yi affecta vomhaki futhi. Ku tlhela ku va na cancer ya ti-ovaries. Ti-ovaries hi laha ku humaka macandza kona ti-hormones leti regulataka ti-function ta vomanana. Then ku va na cancer of the vulva and vagina. Loko hi languta ka this main cancer, kuna cancer ta fallopian tubes. A ni nge vulangi ngopfu hi tona hikuva ti rare ngopfu. So cancer is a killer if it's detected late. And then all the cancers I've mentioned, timbiri leti karataka swinene ti hetaka vomhaka wa hina vomanana wa hina is a cancer of the cervix and cancer of the breast. Letin'wanyani ti kona kambe they are quite rare. Hi minkarhi hinkwayo hi rhandza ku vulavula hi ku ri prevention is better than cure. If hi nga kota ku sivela nghozi swa antswa ngopfu ku va hi alapha hikuva loko sungula ku alapha ku se ku onhaka swo tala. So ti-cancer timbirhi leti nga ti vulavula hi tona ya cervix na ya breast, loko ti diagnosed early at the localized stage of the disease, they are easy to treat and may be curable. Kambe loko ti diagnosed late at an advanced stage, se ti navile, se ti involve many other organs distant from the original site, they are not so easy to treat and they are difficult to bring about a cure. And hikwalaho ke ti hetelela ti hetile vutomi bya vamanana va hina. Xa important ku screening and early detection of these cancers is very important. Hikuva a swi kota ku kuma vuvabyi bya ha ri early. Sometimes, like in the case of cancer of the cervix, a kota ku byi kuma even before ku va cancer. Ka ha ri na those changes that ti va ku left alone in years to come, could be 5 or so many years, cancer will develop. So lava sweswi ku sungula hi ku vulavula hi ti-cancer letiwani individually. Ku va hi ta va aware hi tona na ku tsundzuxana hi tona. Sungula hi cancer of the cervix, leyi ni nga vula ku i cancer ya laha nhongwini wa xibeleko. This is the most diagnosed cancer of women in Africa. The average age diagnosis is about 50 years, even though I still at the ages 35 to 44 years. Why also like this? There are more people at this age group than more than 50 years. So that's and then it is the leading cause of death due to cancer in South Africa. Ekalemra 2019, statistics at 2020, I'm sure whether COVID to publish 2019, even now almost 3,027 deaths from CA of the cervix in the country. And then the number so let's go of every 100,000 people, 27 had cancer in the country, cancer of the cervix, compared to the developed world where about 5 to 8 per 100,000 people per year. So cancer of the cervix is a problem la Africa and other developing world countries. What are the risk factors? It's very important to remind virus human papilloma virus, HPV. HPV virus logo kala super is a family super not towards la marine. So HPV is associated with almost 99% of all the cancer of the cervix diagnosed. So 99% of cancer of the cervix diagnosed, HPV is one of the virus which is found. So you are now one of the main risk factors. In HPV later on, sekuna treatment or vaccine against this HPV virus. So other risk factors, this HIV and AIDS, because of the diminished or reduced immunity, baba at risk of developing cancer of the cervix. Lokubakume infection, HPV, they easily and frequently progress quicker cancer of the cervix. And then those who have had multiple sexual partners are at risk. And then malnutrition, this one shingensa magaku safana saku jaka malnourished au kutubana solwa isona mirakuna kulwa isona against mabaji na mpasunga stress. Shungwanyani multiparity loku banga bibla kotala roughly more than 4 deliveries, it's a bit of a problem. Tobacco smoking and akunabo mana batala bazaka kandi batubaka koniri I was thinking abazambo bamaglala kana abatala bazaka and so on. So but it's one of the risk factors. And then poor genital hygiene may act synergistically with all the other factors to cause cervical cancer. Chana is present njani isponsa kwenu ku mundu ngabana cancer or inchi initial level soku suspect kumuna ngabana cancer. Kukona la angarikina any symptoms at all, you just incidental finding lokumuna chekiwa, but kotala bomaki present a abnormal PV bleeding or abnormal like menstrual flow, which is happening irregular. Angana kutiboksagela famanjani una intermenstrual bleed, so a bleed even between the periods, even heavy again, and then mutala bangwani ba subona iloko varna this post-coital vaginal bleeding loko ba heta ku tirha ntirho ya masangu akaya se vo hlamala khawo se ni sungula ku huma ngati manje hikuva ku thunikeka kwale ku nga na xihlonza le ndzeni ka noma xibeleko. So post-coital PV bleeding, and then xin'wanyani i post-menopausal PV bleeding. Va mhaki lava se va nga qina ku ya nkarhini va nga stop va nga ka menopause, swi abnormal ku va bleeda. Loko va mhaki va ti vona va bleeda like that, va fanele va ti tshuneta ku va ta kota ku chekiwa hi ku nga endleka ku va na cancer of the cervix. Hambileswi leswi swi common ngopfu ka lava va nga va ka na endometrial cancer leyi ni nga ta vulavula yona later on. Xin'wanyani i lava na abnormal vaginal discharge, yi va foul smelling, va watery, can be blood stain, and rarely van'wani va nga va na some low abdominal pains or pelvic pains. So cancer leyiwani yi preventa njhani ke? Prevention of cancer of the cervix. Kuna ndzawulo huvo ya rihanyo ya misava WHO va na strategy lexi va lavaka ku herisa. They talk of elimination of cervix by 2030. You could tirhisa the following strategy. Va na this strategy va vulaka 90, 70 and 90. Va vula yini these numbers? Va vula leswaku by 2030 va lava ku va na 90% of all girls by the age of 15 va va na vaccination against HPV. That is the world over. Va lava leswaku 70% of all women the world over va na access to a screening with a high performance test like a pap smear, maybe na HPV subtyping. When the Health Organization from the age of 35 and then later at 45. So at 35 years and then later 10 years later at 45. And then 90% of all those who screen positive for the test treatment. So that is strategy World Health Organization. The labu katsongonyana niluma this HPV virus vaccines, because that's what WHO kuba 90% of girls by the age of 15 vaccinated. Vaccine le one nankate ku South Africa say na yona botala mitawa mi ba aware say bibele ku pilot wila skolweni those public schools kuba ku vaccinate bana at primary schools injection le ya Cervarix kuna mhlobo mbiri yona ya Cervarix na Gardasil. Le ya Cervarix le anyikwa hi mfumo sweswi abatlhava at time 0, which logo the first injection, and then 1 month later, and then at 6 months. The Moyani Gardasil, Ikawa Sweswi, and then after 2 months, and then later after 6 months. Ideally, these vaccines should be started before coitage, before by the time Magatamasango possible kubangawa exposed to that infection. So vaccination has been shown to be the most effective long-term intervention for reducing the risk of developing cancer of the cervix. So the screening level blah kayona ipap smear la mzansi mfumo hina uthi msele resource lokuthi kufumela kuri vavasati van'wana hinkwavo va ta va na 3 ati pap smears starting from the age of 30 and then at 40 and 50 years. These vamhaki lava va ngo screeniwa ava symptomatic avana vuvabyi avana nchumu. Lero a swi vuli leswaku loko u ri na discharge or complications away for screening, you do go there. This local was screen anyone along our side in the country. Kuna this was like a visual inspection of the cervix with acetic acid or VIA. This is easy to do and useful in low resource settings. Let's see, we're not that much below resource setting, but the maladity research most of the time. Sometimes those screening methods perhaps may look at the clinic kasi loko va kota ku nga khutaza vaongori ku va kota ku langutisa the cervix. Acetic acid vinegar yo na just different concentration va ka speculum and then va languta cervix batota swabbing bachela swabbing vinegar or acetic acid and paint down the cell. Then they tend to see lokuna some abnormalities early. Lokubona kuna that so-called acetowhite bakota bo romela those ba kabo dogodela laba ngata endla further investigations. Ni heta kwala ni magas cancer of the cervix, ni clear cancer mabele, breast cancer. This is another common killer of women. 2/3 of the women are at the age of 55 and older age group. They say it's a case of 1 in 8 women in the lifetime may develop breast cancer. Again, early and localized disease is treatable and curable. The risk factors are obviously age, again, it's more than 50 years. Race, it's inabantima who are worse affected than the rest of the kuna genetic predisposition. Family history is very important. Local, your mother, your daughter, or your sister having a cancer of the breast, you are at a higher risk of developing breast cancer in your lifetime. And then it again a menstrual history. La menstrual history, if you went to menarche prods at a younger age, less than 12 years of age, you are at a slight higher risk of developing breast cancer. Now, local, we are coming menopause, we are later after 55 years. Nakambe, kuna this personal history for other cancers. Other cancers, obviously, it means you've got a chance of developing cancers in the breast. Kuna labanga kuma radiation treatment, radiation therapy for other cancers. Obviously, that's not a risk could develop cancer of the breast. And certain drugs that were in the past, still bostrol as far as in the years 70s, 60s could prevent miscarriages. Could stimulate the development of cancer. And then factors which we have control over, the risk factors, increased body weight and diet. The obese people, overweight people, chance of develop breast cancer. Less physical activity, but olori, she's reducing the risk of breast cancer. Alcohol use, to book to regular alcohol use of more than 1 drink per day. So, she predispose development of breast cancer. Then reproductive history, local first child after 30 years and no breastfeeding, a slight increased risk of women that develop breast cancer. And then obviously hormone replacement therapy, the hormones that are as a part of replacement, the estrogens, not progesterone, stimulate breast cancer formation, certain people at risk. And then all the hormonal treatment and contraceptive, a slight risk of breast cancer. And then is screen journey breast cancer shan. Now, how do you try to prevent that? Very important. This woman examine breast self-examination. As Slavia Stolia Shaba on our Maboko Minawana, Ukota Kutiba your breast group, ma filanjani consistency. So that me kota could pick up a local corona development of lumps or subunzoana, and then mitas so mikota kuata, mi aboniwa got the wrong and then betakota kendla mammograms, and some even they do breast sonars to check is it cystic or solid now. So the betakota kenda further investigations. Also, but science for that cancer of the breast is ngakona. It's 75% of women bangana breast cancer actually they have no risk factors. So lako yeah iba kona kungana risk factor. Ni etla kwala ni breast cancer, and then kuna this endometrial cancer or uterine cancer. The endometrium is that layer of the womb la ngweti loko vamanana va nkarhini va bleed va sheda that layer. So this cancer develops in the layer of cells or tissues lining the inside of the womb. The average age of diagnosis is 6 years, and it's worth mentioning that is uncommon before the age of 45 years of age. The incidence, ninati figures to Maka America, this year, they are expecting to get about almost 67,000 new cases of endometrial or uterine cancers, and then they expect to have almost 13,000 deaths from endometrial cancer. So it's a disease lenga kona le fanele ba aware yona. The symptoms are yona, how do we start suspecting this cancer? Hiloko muna abana postmenopausal PV bleeding. So ninga bola nuku bomanana loko aza ayaka menopause aswa fanelanga kuba abana any bleeding. So any bleeding vaginally is abnormal, any spotting is abnormal, and we need to exclude cancer of the endometrium. So that bleeding, and then back our doctor sometimes treatment stop to bleed. Stop to this bleeding local personal person. He'll find out why bleed. Cancer is one concern. The risk factors of endometrial cancer, obviously again, family history, and then obesity and overweight, about diabetes mellitus, and then labatrisaka estrogens unopposed. This elation lavanga menopause, but regnati trust abona. Loko banati hot flashes, banati postmenopausal symptoms. Loko banikwa pills to control, because these are hormones. Fane banikwa opposed hormone therapy. Lero banikwa at least estrogen and progesterone. Banganikwi estrogen tsena, like Premarin tsena. Equalokwana you trust that stimulates the abnormality the endometrial former cancer long term. And then again, they are more likely to die from this cancer than other races. Then Nicola Nyaka ovarian cancer. Lewani cancer lay you melaka cut ovaries. Ovaries are small almond-sized female pelvic veins that produce eggs and hormones. It's a very difficult cancer to diagnose early, and it usually progresses undetected until they spread within the pelvis and the abdomen. The sad thing is that there's no screening program for this. So therefore, regular annual checkup, either the GPs or the gynecologists, so that Baba Kambela, growth in the pelvis by this pelvic ultrasound. And then Hitaka, the vulvar and vaginal cancers. These are rare. Latity spread are very slow. People are very slow. Vulvar cancer. This is the cancer of the outer visible part of the female genitalia. Loco lesibonaka shona ku the west side. That's whole. It's called the vulva slow. And then the average age of diagnosis is 65 years. How does it present? It presents like a sore, an ulcer, which is not healing. It's increasing in size. It can be a wart-like, itchy. There could be just a fleshy growth in there, and then but it's increasing in size. Okay. So that is it's a vulvar cancer, and I mean it can be anywhere from where we see from top to bottom, those lips. That's a vulvar, so it can be anywhere there. Okay, and then vaginal cancer. This is a cancer developing in that part of the genitalia which is hidden. It's inside, covered by the labia. It's not visible at the glance. Again. this is a very rare disease, and it progresses very slowly. It's a bit difficult to treat, but it takes long to spread. The average age at diagnosis is 60 years, but it's common between the age of 30 and 40 year group. So how does it present? It presents as a vaginal bleeding or vaginal discharge. And then how do we diagnose these cancers? All of these cancers, except of ovarian cancer, kuna these biopsies that kutekwa swinyamana kwala he suspected kona Surumela laboratory ba kambela find a definite diagnosis or put a definite treatment modality. Ovarian cancer, kuma specimen hinkalo hiyendaga the operation ya kutrita because I could ilenzeni I could go anati means taku ngaenda biopsy hingaenda operation. So yonale by the time he operator he will take the whole specimen for to be analyzed in the lab. Now summarize the treatment. Broadly speaking, because kuna operation which is just surgical, and then kuna surgical plus chemotherapy. Operator could follow a mapilisi or injection, and then kuna surgical plus chemotherapy plus radiotherapy. So as a combination, and then kuna laba kunga just radiation tsena. Laba kumaga radiation tsena ilawa se mabaju da semanga fa spread ma affect many organs in the body. So usually it's a palliative. At least I would not expect a cure. Radiation. And then treatment is always a multidisciplinary approach. We do focus on the relief of pain and the treatment of presenting symptoms, but it involves all other disciplines: psychologists, social workers, dietitians, occupational therapists, physiotherapists. There's a need for general surgeons, as in the case of breast cancer, the surgeons are the ones who do the operations. And then with the need for plastic surgeons, particularly for the breasts and the vulva, we involve the plastic surgeons sometimes. So, Shana, Ramakba EPSA, if only it's unskainike. Pamanan wa PSA na batatan wa PSA so finally so cancer linga diagnosed early ya treated and is curable. The two main cancers killing women can be prevented. I'm talking about the cervix and the breast. Tibe nakamlisha kuna vaccine linga kona ya HPV, human papillomavirus. Le fanleke it make our girls to be to avail themselves for these vaccines. Loko mfumo utaskolweni ulaba ku vaccinate henga balexeni bana ba pumuleni ba vaccinate to prevent kuba develop cancer of the cervix. Laba ngati medical aids, in fact almost all medical aids now they paying for these vaccines. Send bana ba hena let's talk about the vaccinate for the future. Bamanana family for the routine pap smear is required. Bamanana matsunsiwa kwenda breast self-examination, so I'm going to pick up abnormalities in your breast kari. So labeka lesaku bamanana babana regular mammograms from around the age of 45 to 50. As is advised by doctors. So I'm going to annually for your checkups. When local are any growth inside the female organs. Lawa banga ya menopause. Aba at least any bleeding or any spotting. Post-menopausal PV bleeding is a sign of uterine cancer. Ya kamberiwa ignore. In conclusion, inakutsamisa kwa manana himwena menga khoma mindyangu ya hina. Without n'wina a ku na mindyangu, a ku na miti. Vana va kurisiwa hi vo manana na hina, kambe loko ku nga ri na manana swa tika swinene. Ni nga rhandzisa vo manana va PCSA, va manana va la LOWVELD Presbytery la kaya. Loko vo ti nyika antamu wa ku endla switsundzuxo hi nga va tsundzuxa swona laha ku va na screening for all these cancers, ku va vana va vaccinatiwa loko possible, and then hi nga kota ku va hi fana na wansati luya. It's a pity a va n'wi vuli na hi vito le Bibeleni. Nsati luya loko Abimelech a karhi a hlasela doroba ra Thebes, loko vanhu va tsutsuma va le henhla le hi ku chava wansati hikuva i wa swi kota ku endla swilo, a tlakula ribye lerikulu leri a sila hi rona, a handlasa nhloko ya Abimelech. So a tiva ku humeleni Abimelech a kombela vana lavan'wana ku ndzi hetiseni ku va nga vuli ku ndlele wansati. Again, loko vo fana na wansati wo tiveka swinene, nsati wo hlonipha ngopfu Jael, nsati wa Heba lowa Mukhenite, leswi nga swi endla ka Sisera, u kotile ku herisa Sisera leswaku tiko ra Israel ri kota ku pona. Na tshamisa vamanana mi nga kota ku ponisa vamanana eka swifo leswi swa cancer. Inkomu hela kwalano.
Ha cancer hi vuyelela dokodela. Hi dyondzekile swinene. Swi tele leswi a hi swi twa swi karhi swi twakala la mirini hi nga swi twisisi ku ri ku humelela yini. Vo tala va manana ti-medical aid va khomelele hi mavoko kambe a va swi tivi ku ri va fanele va ya kwihi. Hi cancer ku pfuriwa mahlo ekerekeni ya hina. Hi cancer wanuna wa matimba loyi wa ku dyondzeka u te loko a dyondzekile a tlhela a hlonipha n'wansati. Loko mi te loko mi dyondzile dokodela mi vona swi fanerile ku va mi ya specialize hi wansati, hikuva mi swi tiva ku ri ku tikeriwa loku nga tala la misaveni ku le ka n'wansati. Ha cancer ku hloniphiwa. Ni za ni va emotional katsongo loko ni karhi ni vulavula ni vona the respect that you are showing us enkarhini wa sweswi lowu hi abusiwaku left and right and center. Ha cancer wanuna wo tshava xikwembu. A mi hloniphi wansati ntsena, a mi dyondzekangi ntsena mi ku swi enerile. Mi dyondzeke mi heta mi hlonipha wansati loyi a nga mi tisa misaveni, mi tlhela mi ya mahlweni mi ku Xikwembu ni pfune ku va ni kota ku hlayisa n'wansati loyi entirhweni lowu nga ni asayina wona. Ha cancer dokodela ni mi hlonipha ku tlula na rito ku hlonipha. Inkomu. Enkarhini wa sweswi vamanana vo saseka lava se hi nga ta ya mahlweni hi saseka ku tlula mpimo, hikuva hi dyondzisiwile swilo swo tala leswi a hi nga swi tivi. Hi dyondzisiwile sweswi ku ri hi fanele hi hlayisisa ku yini mimiri ya hina. A ka ha ri wona nkarhi wa ku ri loko hi twa ku vava hi ku hi ta tiyisela. A hi tweneni xitlhavi hi ya vutisa va dokodela Godi ku ri xana xitlhavi lexi i xitlhavi ntsena kumbe xi lava attention xana. Enkarhini wa sweswi ni ta kombela swivutiso, a hi yimiseni mavoko hi vutisa. Ti-co-host ta mina ni kombela mi vuya ku ta mi ta ni pfuneta, dokodela va ha ri kona va ta hlamula swivutiso swa hina. Inkomu. Xana mavoko ya nga va ya ri kona xana? Dokodela va rindzile ha ri na voha va vona. Va lava ku hi hlamula tanihileswi va nga na rirhandzu lerikulu eka hina. A hi va vutiseni i va hina.
Na voko ra Sisi Raiza.
Manana Raiza, Vutisani dokodela. Manana Raiza, nkarhi I wa n'wina wa ku va mi vutisa dokodela Godi.
Inhlikani bamanana ni rhandza na ku pfuxela dokodela. Question ya me I ku dokodela, what is the advantage and the disadvantages of taking out the womb? Hi sweswo ntsena.
Ni kombela swivutiso swi ta swi landzelelana swi ri swinharhu dokodela va ta kota ku swi hava va swi hlamula swin'wana swa swi hlamuleka xikan'we loko swi vutisiwa hi ku landzelelana inkomu. Hi khensile manana Raiza. Xana swi nga endleka ku nga ha ri na swivutiso?
A hi voni mavoko hale ka screen for now.
Ni pfumeleriwile tanihi mufambisi ku vutisa?
Mi nga vutisa makwerhu.
Inkomu. Dokodela ni kombela ku cheka ku ri loko u ri na problem ya ovarian cyst swa endleka ku va ti developer to an ovarian cancer xana? Inkomu. Se ku ta va ku ri nkarhi wa n'we wa ku hlamula dokodela.
Inkomo ni cancer swivutiso swa n'wina. Xivutiso xo sungula, advantage and disadvantages of taking out the womb or doing a hysterectomy xilungu. Kuna the advantage, yes. La ku vula ku na ti disadvantage, yes, ti kona. But let me say kuri ku humesa ka xibeleko, the womb hysterectomy, it's a big operation. What hi rhandza ku advise vamanana hi swona I ku xi humesa just because you want it out ku nga na indication. I know for botala they say, hey, I want to just take it out. It is in order because remember, it's quite a big operation. Whether or from below vaginally to take it out, cutting a lot of tissues to the rest of the body. There are anesthetic problems. There are surgical problems. Bleed, injuries of other organs like the intestines, the bladder, the ureters, and all those. So, local indication when other healthy unique problem, we don't advise because obviously the cancer of the speleko long term. Cancer of the cervix long term because but for those who end up with complication, from anesthetic complication, from anesthetic, I mean, it's quite a big thing. So, local indication short, the uterus must be taken out. Even local complications, chronic pelvic pains, adhesions sometimes, all the other complications, infections, sepsis, whatever. But where balance the indication far outweighs the risk. So it's a risk kind of assessment day until we manana kambe is advantage cancer of the womb because I should be left out but the disadvantage the complications I think about sometimes I think necessary until logo the ovarian cysts, some of them develop cancer. I choose biology every month kuna ti-cysts leti fomekaka in the ovaries as part of preparation for the release of the egg. Ti vula follicular cysts, you know. So those are normal. They start being small, they grow, and then they burst of later, which usually day 14 after your lie or the first day of a period. The egg lay those cysts. So those are normal or functional cysts. Kuna ti-cysts leti va ka kona obviously leti kulaka swinene ka vana lavatsongo amtilo mi kuna leswi ku va ku tiva ku ti-dermoid cysts where kuma loko yi pfula kuma kuna misisi kuna yini but I cancer swi benign. At the same time va kona vana lavatsongo phatale vana lava ri very young less than 5-6 years vatsongo loko vana those cysts usually ku va ku ri malignant ku va ku ri cancer immature teratoma. So ka lavakulu hi mhaka hi ku swa laveka leswaku your gynae, your doctor ativa your pelvis, what's happening every year. Loko mi abamcheka va endla so na va cheka ovaries are normal akuna nchumu. Loko va sina ku vona some cysts developing this may be dysfunctional, let's see what happens, that disappear. Loko tinga disappear kuna some bloods that kota ku tekiwa to check are they secreting those hormones now. Loko kuna those hormones ungalava further testing kuba kota ku preventa ku akuna cancer. Indeed loko tinga disappear tila kususiwa, that's why abadokotela va ku endla hysterectomy or venda ovarian cyst removal until ku mihlamulekile na the cyst ona ta develop into cancer, but I am quite a cyst tibakati cancer. Inkomo.
Inkomo ikhansile dokodela. Vamanana va vula swo va ri va khansile. Loko hi tlhela hi milava siku rin'wana tanihi leswi ni nga vula na le ku sunguleni ku rin'we a hi mi outsource ho ringela kwala baketini.
Makwerhu
Una hita mi kombela dokodela wa hina. Ni vona manana Matukani nga ku ni va siya handle. Vana xivutiso manana Matukani ni kombela ku ri ni nga mi siya handle hikuva next time mi nga ha ni ku mfambisi. Inkomo.
inkomo makwerhu ku na ti-question leti nga vutisiwa ka ti-chat a ni tivi dokodela va kota ku ti vona kumbe hi nga ti hlaya xana. Ya ku sungula okay, yo sungula yi ri, does ovarian cancer present with post-coital bleeding even if hysterectomy was done? Number 2, does ovarian cysts affect full-term delivery? Does ovarian cysts affect a baby? They say by chinchil. Okay, in utero after full-term delivery.
Okay, I know, but Senator Bona lava technology ban fulele those chat.
Okay.
A BBT a super man.
Okay, my night timbir.
No Senator Bona lo angwana fika fula.
All right.
Okay.
I think timbir inko.
Yeah. Na cancer mama tukane le shows ovarian cancer I cause kuri bade post menopausal PV bleeding where people can have bleeding as long as mana a uterus logo that cancer really produces hormones, you know, like the estrogen whatever. Bangabana bleeding because it affected the inside the womb. That what you said is the endometrium. So, but it's a rare it's a rare kind of thing. It's not a common presentation, you know. In terms of it causing post-coital bleeding, ovarian cancer shouldn't affect the local. There shouldn't be a bleeding from the vagina linked to the hormones, even if your body hormones. So post-coital bleeding after a hysterectomy is done, all it means is that either the vault, either kuna some new development or growth developing there, because it's some of the causes of hysterectomy, those pre-malignant disease that the cervix, like CIN, high-grade seal. Now the vagina can have this so-called vaginal intracranial benign lesion or neoplasia. So with that, what we picked up pap smear abnormal, she called like a vagina because HPV is the same virally causing another thing. So so something new, it must be checked. Wow, what's happening? Okay, and then let's can does ovarian cyst affect a baby in utero after full-term delivery? Not really. It shouldn't, because matako loco manana are pregnant. Immediately kubana ovulation, the egg comes out. La the egg are kuna that's what we call corpus luteum. Corpus luteum she maintain a pregnancy. She will measure the hormonal progesterone. You maintain pregnancy, but one kubana the cyst, because of this, you call it corpus luteum cyst. That's what maintains the pregnancy. So actually affecting the baby in utero as such, it just what it does is that's what maintains the pregnancy. Labangana poor or insufficiency of the corpus luteum function, kubanat miscarriage. That's why what the treatment for cyclogest, whatever. The current losses of certain miscarriages early on. Until na niklamsela she maybe ni confuse about, but I hope she's seki. Inkom.
Inkom dokotela kuna voko Jeffron Sivande ikombela mivutisa. Jeffron Sivande inkarhi wan'we wa ku vutisa.
Sorry, Makweru, a mistake.
Inkomo. Dokotela hikhensile.
Inkom, kensisinen osibana n'wina.
Xikwembu xi ye mahlweni xi mi nyika vutlhari, xi mi nyika na ku lehisa mbilu, mi hi lehisela timbilu. Xi tlhela nga ku xi ngo tluleta na van'wana ku va va dyondzela ntirho lowu va ta mi pfuna, hi ta pfuneka ngopfu. Ha khensa.
Amen.
Amen. Vamakwerhu a hi fambiseni dokodela hi risimu. Hello, hi koho vamanana? Ha ri kona vamanana?
Tekila.
Hello.
Ikona Makweru.
Xikwembu xa matimba akukhensa xikwembu xa matimba akukhensa ulonene xikwembu xa matimba ulonene xikwembu xa matimba ulonene. Obrigado, xikwembu xa matimba. Obrigado, xikwembu xa matimba. Obrigado, ulonene, xikwembu xa matimba. Ulonene, xikwembu xa matimba. Ulonene, wa tshembeka, xikwembu xa matimba. Watsembeka xikwembu xa matimba, watsembeka.
Inkomo hi khensile vuyimbeleri. Enkarhini wa sweswi hi ta kombela va matsalane va hi nyika switiviso.
Inkomu makwerhu, hi rhandza ku khensa ka siku ra namuntlha ku va mi hi fambisile. Ha swi tiva ku ka ha ta khensiwa, mara hi vona swi fanerile ku hundzisa ku khensa ngopfu ka vamakwerhu lava nga hi joyina from other presbyteries. Hi va vonile va karhi va nghena, hi ta hundzisa ku khensa hi ndlela yeleyo hi ku swi nga endleka mundzuku loko se va khensiwa va nga ha ri kona. Ha khensa vamakwerhu ku ve mi va phati ya govela ra hina. Hi tlhela hi tsundzuxa ku mundzuku i siku ra sonto. Co-host ni kombela mi ni pfuna, ku na lava nga pfula timike. Hi tlhela hi kombela hi tsundzuxa ku mundzuku i siku ra sonto, hi ya sungula entirho wa hina hi 8:30, kambe hina hi kombela ku hi nga logi hinkwerhu hi 8:30. Ku ta va ku ri nkarhi wa vestry laha hi nga ta hlangana na vafundhisi. Swimbalo swa mundzuku hinkwerhu hi languteriwa ku va hi mbale xiambalo. Hi tlhela emahlweni ka hina hi va hi ri na swakudya hi swona xilalelo, hi ku hi ta amukerisiwa xilalelo eka siku ra mundzuku. Hi tlhela hi kombela leswaku va executive va sala loko ku ya pfariwa, va ta lulamisa swin'wana na swin'wana. Inkomu mufambisi, hosi mi katekisa na vamakwerhu va katekisa.
Inkomo ni khensile. Sweswi ku ta va nkarhi wa vamanyeleti ku va va hi pfalela hi xikhongelo. Va nga si pfala loko a ri mina ni rhandza ku ya ni ya khensa ku nyikiwa nkarhi lowu wa ku va ni mi fambisa. Ni tlhela ni kombela na ku rivaleriwa eka laha ni nga fambi kahle. Mara I thank the opportunity kusuka eku enteni ka mbilu ya mina. This was a learning curve, and leswi a swi ri swilo swin'wana leswi swi nga swa xiyimo xa le henhla eka mehe tanihi manana. Inkomu vamanyeleti ku ta va ku ri nkarhi wa n'wina wa ku va mi ya hi pfalela egovela ra hina lero saseka hi xikhongelo. Halala vamanana, halala. Vamanyeleti hi kona. Vamanyeleti hi kona xana ku va mi ya hi pfalela gandzelo. Swi tikomba onge vamanyeleti a va kona. Ni kombela un'wana na un'wana loyi a rhumiwaka hi moya lowo kwetsima ku va a hi pfalela gandzelo. Hi kombela ku pfaleriwa govela hi manana un'wana na un'wana loyi moya lowo kwetsima wu n'wi rhumaka.
Inkomu mfambisi a hi khongeleni. Xikwembu lexi hanyaka, tata wa hosi ya hina Yesu Kreste, hi le mahlweni ka n'wina endzengeni lowu. Xikwembu xa hina hi tisa ku khensa emahlweni ka n'wina. Hi mi vonile kusukela na mixo mi ri karhi mi hi fambisa. Hi khensa moya lowo kwetsima lowu a wu ri kona wu ri karhi wu hi pfuna. Xikwembu lexi hanyaka hi dyondzisiwile bava kusukela kwale ka Bible study. Bava ya khensa tinsimu hinkwato leti hi nga ti kuma. Ya khensa tidyondzo n'winyi wa matimba hinkwawo leti a mi rhumerile malandza ya n'wina ku ta hi dyondzisa. Hi ri vamhakhi, hi ri vayethe. Bava hi vonile rirhandzu ra n'wina. Xikwembu lexi hanyaka ha mi tlakusa, ha mi dzunisa. Hi khensa ku tlharihisiwa. Hi tlhela hi khensa n'winyi wa matimba hinkwawo i ku va mi hi nyike nkarhi lowu wa kahle lowu Xikwembu xa hina va va hi nga kula emoyeni. Manani na hina n'winyi wa hina loko ha ya ku wiseni karhi hi ti prepare-rela siku ra mundzuku, katekisa manana un'wana na un'wanyana Xikwembu xa hina mi ya va nyika ku wisa na ku tshamiseka na ntsako emindyangwini ku hambana ka yona. Ha mi khensa, ha mi dzunisa, hi ta mi vula hi laha ku nga heriki. Amen.
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 Vamakwerhu a hi humeni ku sala executive ya LOWVELD ya vamanana. Sesi Ntsako. Hi kombela mi hi yisela vo ka waiting room va ha tele.
A ho va nyika xinkarhana va ta huma. Maybe 2
Okay.
minutes. After 2 minutes,
All right.
hi ta va pfuna.
Inkomu.